So ladies and gentlemen, would you please help welcome our brief speaker, Chris Andrews. Good evening, everybody. I've got 10 minutes, and I cannot possibly, I must tell you, do justice to this business in 10 minutes flat. So forgive me for consulting some notes. I've made some notes simply because there is so much to tell that I've had to condense it and make sure that I do convey the right message here tonight. I wanted to say in starting that there's absolutely no guarantee job security in life. I personally am a victim of retrenchment many years ago. It was quite a wake-up call. I spent 10 years of my life in the military where it was kind of secure. And with that in mind, I went into commerce and found myself in my second job being retrenched. So I want to just reiterate that this business is what we feel is a business that is recession-proof. Okay? This business really gives you the ability to get into the zone of health, wellness, and lifestyle, and of course some wisdom. We learn a lot out of this business. The personal development what we get from the training material, which I'll touch on later, is enormous. There's a gentleman by the name of Robert Kiyosaki. Now Robert Kiyosaki endorses this business, and he wrote many books some of you might be familiar with. His first one is called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and that's just based on his life experience when he was a youngster. However, he wrote subsequent books, one of which I'd like to refer to now, called the Cash Flow Quadrant. Cash flow quadrant, that diagram up on the left, really is an analysis of the 4 different types of income earners in the world. Now, I know this room is filled with folk that are self-employed and those that are employed by a corporation or small business. The E stands for employee, the S stands for self-employed. On the left-hand side of that diagram, that represents folks who earn out of an activity, their own personal participation. So they need to get up, dress up, and show up for work. Now, if you're not there for long enough, I'm sure you will agree, and me as a self-employed individual understand that your business will suffer. On the right-hand side, the B and the I are those that earn passive or annuity-based income. Investment properties, investors on the stock market, and the like. Now, this business fits squarely into the top right-hand corner, the B quadrant, which stands for big business systems. And I'm going to elaborate a little bit on that in terms of how we build this business. Okay, this business is a global business. Although we're sitting here in Cape Town, this business has a registration presence in over 100 countries around the world. It is built on the basis of a network system, which I'm going to elaborate on, similar to a franchising network. And you have the ability, out of a consumption model, to plug into that distribution chain between manufacturer and you as the consumer. This is just a picture to give you an idea of one of the factories that Amway has. This is in Ada, Michigan. And the length of that factory spans about 1.5 kilometers across its frontage. Okay, so how do we do it? This is the question. We do it, I'm sure you're all familiar with a loyalty card with various retailers, the most popular of which, of course, is the Pick n Pay Smart Shopper. Standard purchases get you points. Points convert into vouchers. The only difference being between that and this business is that those vouchers are then redeemable at that retailer. In this business, you get a loyalty card which converts into cash. So you are now able to participate or leverage some of the profit share which comes out of that consumption. I'm going to touch on some of the top products. There's some 450 products available out of this business here in South Africa. Again, I said it's a global business. There are many more than 450, but we have available to us, amongst others, the first product I want to touch on is Nutrilite. Nutrilite, the banners of which you see displayed here. This happens to be a farm which is situated, Ken, somewhere in California, I believe. And the strategic placing of these farms has been so carefully thought out, such that in this case, it has been located in the vicinity of a volcanic mountain, that when the prevailing wind blows and the volcano erupts, that ash spills over onto the land and feeds the soil with a particular type of mineral, which enhances the growth and the efficacy of the plant. This happens to be an echinacea field that we're looking at right now. The next slide, the next product I'd like to touch on is Artistry. For those that take care of their skin and their appearance, it ranks as in the top 5 cosmetic and skincare companies in the world. eSpring, as Ken's already mentioned, is a water purification, and note I don't use filtration, it's a purification, so the water you're drinking now I can promise you is the best tasting water that you'll ever drink. This is also rated as the #1 purifier in the world. Then we have a brand called Excess. You see the branding around the room. This is quite an exciting new brand. This is our power drink or energy drink. So it compares to the other drinks out there, the difference being this is the healthy option. 0 sugar, but all the energy. And it's filled with B vitamins. Okay, this is briefly a slide that illustrates how this franchise business works. So you're in the center of that slide, and you're a consumer. Remember, you're simply consuming, spending money on consumption products. I said this is a recession-proof business because regardless of what the economic cycles are, folk are going to care for their skin, wash their hair, brush their teeth, possibly take some supplements. But out of the basic consumption, you in the center are now going to refer to other folk any good experience that you may have with a product of this nature. So the idea is to replace whatever product X is in your cupboard, try a product, and through that experience, refer to other people. It's not difficult. And so the outward circle that you see there is the growth of that business through something that we call networking. No different to reading a good book, seeing a good movie, and telling somebody about it. Next slide, please. Now, the way we learn in this organization is a business called Network 21, which was founded by the late Jim and Nancy Dornan. Nancy's still alive. This is a global business. I said that Amway has a presence in over 100 countries. 40 of those around the world have a Network 21 presence. So the resources and support systems are available. This is how we learn. This is how we transfer. It's nothing like my conventional business. Nobody knocked on my door and said, Chris, let me help you, teach you, coach you, tell you what not to do and what to do. Okay, so what does this business give us? This business gives us access to a lifestyle. This is the kind of rewards we can get out of the business. This happens to be a photograph. I've never seen this picture. I must tell you, I was fascinated when I saw this photograph. This is taken on the sort of southern tip of Mauritius. And I mean, how's that underwater canyon? Beautiful. It's absolutely breathtaking. One of the spots that this corporation, Amway Corporation, will send you based on a certain level of production or profit share that you generate. You may, like Ronnie, decide to be an expeditionist and go to weird and wonderful places and climb mountains. More about that later. Next slide, please. Or you may decide to be a philanthropist. And that can be a global effort, anywhere in the world, throughout your network. The Amway Corporation, I forget the number, I think has donated something in the region of about 300 million US dollars to various charities around the world. Okay, so when I want to finish off now, I just want to touch on one thing, one or two things. I'm gonna mention a quote. Firstly, we talk about money. Now, money and time, in our opinion, and what we've learned, are the two elements of real freedom. I know many people in this business of mine, my core business, that have a lot of time, not enough money. Those that have a lot of money, not enough time to enjoy it. And so I was in the company of two folk that were having a conversation. These two gentlemen were chatting, one said to the other, but you know, money's not really everything in life. And the response that he got was, yes, you're kind of right, but it really ranks right up there with oxygen. And I'm sure Ronnie's going to touch a little bit more on that later. So really the world is your oyster. It's all about consumption. There's nothing secretive about this business. Those of you who are really interested, I encourage you to just chat to those of us that are here tonight. And of course, I'm now going to hand back to our MC Ken. Thanks very much. That is...